Hi there, my name's Amanda Kaufman.
And I'm Chris Lavelle.
And you're watching the Crush Method Show. And this week we are talking about how to package your coaching so your ideal client can't say no.
That's right. Well, I guess they could say no, but they won't. It's like having cake at a birthday party. It's there. You see it. It looks delicious. You gotta have some cake.
Exactly. You just make it so enticing, so delicious. They're going to want to have what you have to offer. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. Now, before understanding this, I wasted so much precious time.
Oh, yeah. In the first year, you talked to a lot of people without really having a defined offer to really give to them.
Really did. Now, I chalk that up to my scrappy first year and a half or so trying things on.
Experimentation, right?
Experimental years. The awkward teenage years.
The awkward teen years.
I do really chalk it up to that. But if I'm being really honest, it was exhausting. It was unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
It was, anytime I stopped, it stopped.
Absolutely.
And I was very fortunate in that I did figure out something that is still a cornerstone of what we teach now, which is that everyone who buys coaching has a problem of appropriate magnitude.
PAM,
Yes.
Problem of appropriate magnitude.
Yes.
That's a result that they really value and care about and would actually pay to have someone help them get past.
Exactly. Now, that's something I learned because of that hot mess disaster of walking. I feel like I wandered the earth.
Well, you talked to 650 something people in that year. And 17 said yes. I think you calculated earlier, that's 2.6% conversion rate.
It was very low.
It was low, but so many learnings out of that. And not all of it, but a lot of it came down to learnings about, well, what am I really offering here?
Yes. I think there was definitely some exploration around getting to know what I had to offer, exploration around what I wanted to offer.
Yeah, what do you want to coach on?
Exploration around getting to know people. I mean, I had been working in corporate for years at that time, and I was in a corporate culture that was super defined. So I think there was a certain amount of just being out in the world and trying new things.
Experimentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Creative freedom.
So, there was certainly a lot of upside to that adventure, and it was inefficient.
It was. I mean, 650, but
17
people saying yes. That sounds like an inefficient process.
Yeah, especially when you compare that to nowadays, when I get on the phone with somebody, roughly 43 to 50% of people.
Yep. So very different. And that's because in a lot of ways, you've really refined the offer. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about.
Exactly. The thing is when you get the offer right, when you finally figure out, okay, here's the problem of appropriate magnitude that I actually solve, and here's the offer that I'm making to this sort of person who wants this offer solved, because not everybody, you don't want to work with everybody, Coach.
Not everybody's a fit for you, Coach.
Not everybody's a fit for you. That's number one. Number two, not everybody wants to work with you, Coach.
Absolutely.
Right? So once you kind of find that great mix of who you want to work with and who wants to work with you and what that problem of appropriate magnitude is, the offer itself ends up being the thing that drives your sales process.
Oh, yeah.
It drives your marketing process and your marketing message. So without it, you end up wandering the fields.
The 650 people fields, for example. And you know what? A lot of coaches, when they go to think about, for example, I'm going to do a webinar. Well, I'll spend all this time getting the deck just right, doing the slides just right.
Yeah.
But they then spend the last 5 minutes on the offer.
Yeah.
But maybe, Coach, flip that.
Yeah.
Spend your effort and time on getting the offer right. And then the rest of it becomes easy.
Exactly.
You know where you're going now with it.
Exactly. And we did a full-blown training on this, by the way, in our group, the Coaches Plaza, which is a free Facebook community that you can come and join. And you just go to www.thecoachesplaza.com and you can come join us absolutely free.
Yep. Come and join us.
And, here's the thing. When you're creating that offer, you're solving that problem of appropriate magnitude, that thing that people would actually want to invest in. Because the thing is, they're not buying your coaching, Coach.
No.
No. I thought that they
Well,
bought
that was your
coaching.
first offer. You were selling them hours of your coaching, and that's really not what they wanted. They wanted a result.
They do. They do.
You thought they wanted time with you. I mean, I think you're awesome. I'd spend time with you.
My ego wanted them to want my
Your
coaching.
ego wanted them to want it. But really, all they cared about was, I want a result.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's hard to accept, I think, in the beginning. I now completely accept it. But I think at first I was just like, moi? Like, you don't want moi?
They're rejecting me.
They're rejecting me.
No, they're rejecting that it's not solving a problem for them.
Yes.
And so where do we start? When you're thinking about an offer, where do you start?
Well, this is definitely not popularly taught. But I really, really think that the best place to start in anything is with the end in mind.
Where you want to go.
Where do you want to go? And for me, I wanted to quit my corporate job at the time.
Yep.
And one of the biggest reasons why I felt at the time I couldn't was because of how much I was paid.
As a coach. And as a consultant.
As a consultant.
Okay.
So and do you remember I was doing all the math, and my mom was visiting from Canada.
Yes, I do.
And she was like, "So, how are you planning on
what's your price going to be, for example?
Yeah.
What's?"
And I remember I was like, "Well, I was thinking I would do like $50 an hour, and then I would do like $150 an hour."
Like a lot of coaches maybe.
And the thing about moms, especially my mom, she's got a major BS detector. She could smell it a mile away. So she's like, "What do you want to charge?" And
then she asked you a very wise question.
Yes.
And the wise question was, what do you need to charge to not go back to that high-paid consulting role?
Oh my gosh.
That changed the game.
I almost threw up on the spot. I was just like, that number's really high, Mom.
It was a combination of dance and throw up at the same time. You're in the sweet spot when you want to vomit and dance at the same time.
Oh, yeah. It just about got messy.
Hopefully that wasn't too much for you.
Yeah. It almost got messy there for a second. But my mom, what a great coaching question.
That really was
That
a
really
great
was.
reflective question. She didn't give an answer. She asked, what do
genuinely-
you need to charge to not go back to corporate?
And I remember I blurted the number out, which at the time was $500 an hour, which is funny because that's not my personal hourly rate anymore.
It's above that now.
It's way above that. But at the time, I remember blurting it out, and in my mind, I was so constricted with that number because I had worked for a big consulting firm, and I knew what the rate cards were for my boss.
That's right. And it was higher than your boss's rate charge card.
It was, yeah, for my ex-boss. And I was like, that's more than my ex-boss makes. So,
which is kind of awesome.
And I was like, how can I charge more than what my ex-boss did with like a legit corporation behind him? How can I possibly do that? And I did.
And you did.
I did.
And that's kind of the first lesson here, Coach. You need to understand and find the balance between the real financial goals you have to stay in your coaching business and what you can do to help somebody achieve a goal, solving that problem of appropriate magnitude, the PAM.
I love that. I love that so much. So yeah, definitely I think that's the first thing, because if you know where you're headed, especially as a private coach in the beginning, you are limited by the number of hours that you can realistically work in the day.
You're trading time for money, so you only have so many hours.
And if you are wanting to grow beyond being a private coach, which most coaches that I talk to, that's their ambition. They want to be a group coach and maybe have courses and write books and speak on stages. Like, they want to do all the things, right? And I wanted to do all the things too. And here's the thing. If you're starting with private coaching, which is very smart because it gives you a high profit margin and you don't have to be very good at mass marketing. You can just convince one person at a time to say yes. Right. So that's how I started, and I'm a big fan of the strategy. And if you want to pivot out of private coaching, you're effectively a freelancer when you're a private coach because you're trading time for money.
Absolutely.
And so you're limited in the number of spots you can give.
There's kind of a maximum size within a reasonableness quotient that you can get to.
Exactly. So that limits how high of a price you can charge, because you're limited in the number of hours that you have for private coaching. So that's really what dictated my prices in the beginning. That's where I started for the offer. From there, after that, it's not about you anymore, coach.
No.
Now you've got to say, okay, well, if I've got to charge, let's say I'm charging $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, whatever your number is per client. Now, what's that problem of appropriate magnitude that people want to receive coaching on that
you actually want to coach on too?
That you want to coach on too. Because like, I did not want to do anything health coaching related. That just wasn't very comfortable for me.
Wouldn't have fit for you.
It wasn't an area of genius for me, right? But I love talking about career. I love talking about transformation,
change, entrepreneurship,
and particularly around business and around career and around like identity, balance, promotion. So like there's lots of things that I was like, oh yeah, here for it. I could totally talk about those things.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. But if you were to ask me to do coaching around how to be an amazing Dungeons and
it's Dungeons and Dragons, by the way.
Is it Dungeons and Dragons?
yeah, that's okay. Leave it with the experts.
Do you see why I would not be good at this? But you, on the other hand, might have a little bit more.
I might be pretty good at it.
Anyway.
Super geek.
Yes. So finding that problem of appropriate magnitude that is a fit for you is a really, really big deal. Now, we went and did a whole lot more of a deeper dive training in the Coaches Plaza, and we would love to see you there. So go to www.thecoachesplaza.com and we'll see you there.
Come join us. All best, Coach.